So we've got 8 new updates on the Galaxy S26 Ultra, from its first detailed look to some key changes, the comeback of the S26 Plus, and even a pretty embarrassing loss for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Let's get into it. What's up guys, Sal here. So by now, the S26 Ultra's design is basically an open secret. But OnLeaks just published the full official CAD-based renders and they leave nothing to the imagination. Everything checks out: the new camera island, the more rounded corners, and those softer chamfered edges on both the front and back. Finally, because those edges were way too sharp on the S25 Ultra, the phone is now 7.9mm thick, 0.3 less than the S25 Ultra, but with a camera bump of 4.5mm, which is almost double the size of its predecessor. So if you're the kind of person who sets your phone flat on a table, just know it's gonna wobble like crazy, kinda like the Z Fold 7 did. There's also a small but noticeable update to the S Pen. A while back, I mentioned that Samsung would probably have to reshape the clicker end to better match the phone's new rounded edges, and sure enough, that's exactly what they've done. It now has a slightly more angular design, very reminiscent of the original Galaxy Note's S Pen. Honestly, I like the callback. Feature-wise though, don't expect the Bluetooth functionality to make a comeback. That part is still gone. Now here's something you probably didn't see coming. The S26 Plus is making a comeback. Yep, it's not gone. Initially, Samsung was planning to launch 3 variants of the S26 lineup, with the Edge effectively replacing the Plus model. And this wasn't some wild rumor. Internal codes and supply chain analysts had confirmed it. But here's the thing, the sales of the S25 Edge didn't perform anywhere near as expected. 3 months after the launch, its sales tanked. To put numbers on it, Samsung moved nearly 7 million S25 Plus units, while the S25 Edge barely crossed a million. That's a huge gap. So in a last-minute pivot, Samsung decided not to scrap the Plus variant after all. The Edge alone wasn't cutting it. That means development on the S26 Plus is now underway, which effectively gives us 4 S26 variants: the Pro, the Plus, the Edge, and the Ultra. Honestly, I'm all for it. More options aren't a bad thing. Apple does the same with 4 devices and they're doing just fine. Samsung can absolutely pull it off too. As of now, the specs for the S26 Plus are still under wraps, but I'll keep you updated the moment we get more details. Now, Exynos 2600 is making a comeback with the S26 lineup, but it won't be in every model. The S26 Pro will use it in select regions. Samsung has already begun mass production, so this is confirmed. Based on history, expect Europe and certain Asian markets to get Exynos, while the US and Canada stick with Snapdragon. The S26 Ultra and Edge though will both use Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy worldwide. Early Geekbench scores showed the Exynos 2600 surprisingly performing on par with the new Snapdragon, which is promising, but we'll have to see how it holds up in GPU, efficiency, and thermals before calling it a real rival. Charging speeds are finally moving forward. A certification document recently showed the S26 Ultra capped at 45 watts, but Ice Universe has doubled down saying it will indeed support 60 watts. That earlier listing was almost certainly just tested with a 45-watt charger, which is common for certifications. Either way, it looks like 60 watts is coming, and honestly, it's been long overdue. Another interesting addition, some internal One UI 8.5 code now confirms that the S26 Ultra will indeed debut with Samsung's AI-powered privacy display. Basically, it narrows the viewing angles only when you're entering sensitive information like banking applications. Unlike those clunky privacy screen protectors that are always on and ruin brightness, this activates only when you need it. And while we're on displays, the S26 Ultra is confirmed to get the new M14 panel. Fun fact, Apple actually used this in the iPhone 16 Pro before Samsung did in its own phones. But here's the difference, the S26 Ultra's panel uses COE tech, meaning no polarizer layer. That makes it thinner, brighter, and more efficient, which basically means better battery life. And Samsung is gonna need every bit of that efficiency because unlike Apple, they didn't bump the S26 Ultra's battery capacity this year. Meanwhile, the iPhone 17 Pro Max saw a 10% increase and people are already seeing some legit battery life gains in day-to-day use. Speaking of Apple, the S25 Ultra just demolished the iPhone 17 Pro Max in a phone buff speed test. We're talking a 12-second lead in a 3-minute run. And that's embarrassing because technically the iPhone 17 Pro Max's real rival isn't the S25 Ultra, it's the S26 Ultra. The Ultra always launches in January but uses the latest Snapdragon chip and updated components launching this year. So with Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 already looking significantly stronger in CPU and GPU, the gap in January could make Apple look like it's playing catch up for years. And finally, the S26 Ultra will be the first to ship with One UI 8.5. I've already managed to install it on my S25 Ultra, and let me tell you, it's bigger than I expected. I've got a full hands-on video with all the changes, so click here if you want to check that out, and I'll see you there.